All right, let's dive into one of the biggest, most frustrating puzzles in AI right now. Why do these incredibly smart systems sometimes just make stuff up? It turns out a new paper from OpenAI has this fascinating answer. And believe it or not, it has everything to do with a strategy you almost definitely used back in high school.
Oh, we've all been there, right? You ask an AI a pretty straightforward question, and it spits back an answer that is just completely 100% wrong. But here's the thing. It delivers that wrong answer with the swagger of a world-renowned expert. This is that classic wrong and strong problem, and it's a huge reason why a lot of us still hesitate to really trust these tools. So, to really get to the bottom of this, we first need to understand what the experts actually call this behavior and why it's so much more than just a simple little glitch in the system. In the world of AI, this is called a hallucination. It's basically when a model chooses to guess, to invent a plausible-sounding answer, instead of just saying, hey, I don't know. Now, this isn't some rare bug. It happens all the time, even with the most powerful, cutting-edge AIs. And as a paper from OpenAI points out, this isn't because the AI is broken. No, it's happening for a very, very logical reason. And this is where that OpenAI paper offers just a brilliant insight. It suggests the real reason AIs get things wrong isn't some super complex technical flaw, but actually something we can all totally relate to. I want you to think back for a second. You're sitting in a classroom taking a big multiple-choice exam. The clock's ticking down, you stumble on a question you have no clue about, and you know there's no penalty for a wrong answer. So what's the smart move? You eliminate the choices you know are wrong, and then you take a guess. Of course you do. Well, check this out. The parallel is pretty much perfect. A student's goal? Maximize their score. The strategy? Guess when you're not sure. And the outcome? A better grade, even if a few of those guesses are wrong. Well, it turns out we've been training our language models in exactly the same way. Their one and only goal is to maximize their score on our tests. So the smartest strategy for them is to always take a guess. Okay, so if AIs are just acting like really smart test takers, the next big question is, why? Why are we teaching them this way? Well, as it turns out, this behavior is absolutely not an accident. It's a direct result of how we grade them. This quote from the OpenAI paper just says it all, doesn't it? We are actively fostering or encouraging hallucinations because we reward the models for overall accuracy. Just like that student who gets a B instead of a C+ by guessing, and AI gets a higher score on its exams by doing the exact same thing. We've literally created an incentive for them to be confident guessers. And look, the proof is right here in the tests themselves. The big benchmarks we use to grade our AIs, we're talking MMLU, HelloSwag, you name it, they all have this one critical flaw. Not a single one of them gives any credit for admitting you don't know the answer. So, from the AI's point of view, it gets 0 points for leaving it blank and 0 points for getting it wrong. A guess is always, 100% of the time, the better bet. And this, right here, is the big aha moment of this whole thing. Hallucinations aren't some kind of bug in the system, they're a feature. It's a logical outcome of the training rules that we created. The AI isn't failing us, it's being a straight-A student in the system we designed for it. So, if the problem is the test itself, then the solution seems pretty obvious, doesn't it? We need to change the rules of the game. Just think about how this works for us, for humans, in the real world. In the school of life. Getting an answer right, that earns you the most social credit. People see you as smart, reliable. But what's the next best thing? Admitting you're not sure. People actually respect that honesty. What really costs you, what really hurts your reputation, is being confidently wrong. It's embarrassing, and we learn very quickly to avoid it. That little feeling of shame, right? That social penalty you pay for spouting nonsense with total conviction, it's a super powerful feedback loop for learning. And that is precisely what our current AI training systems are missing. There is no penalty at all for being wrong and strong. So, the proposed solution is actually beautiful in its simplicity. Just change the scoring. In today's system, an AI gets 1 point for being right and 0 for everything else. But just imagine a new system where we give it a tiny reward, let's say 1/4 of a point, for just honestly saying, I don't know. All of a sudden, guessing isn't the smartest strategy anymore. Now, this little shift in incentives is way more than just a technical tweak. It could have massive implications for the future, maybe even fundamentally changing our relationship with AI, and what it really means to build a system that we can actually genuinely trust. So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, if this approach gets adopted, we could see a huge drop in hallucinations.
Now, sure, the models might start saying I don't know a lot more often, and that might feel a little frustrating at first, but isn't an honest I don't know 1,000 times better than a confident lie? This really requires us to rethink how we design AI benchmarks, to move beyond these simple pass-fail grades and start rewarding a more nuanced, honest kind of intelligence.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. For so long, we've been chasing perfect accuracy, but maybe what we really need from our AI is honesty. Is teaching our machines the simple wisdom of saying, I don't know, the most important step we can take toward building an AI we can truly rely on? It's something to think about.